What is up, fight fans? We are back for another episode of Parting Shots here on Just Blaze Clothing, aka JB Sports Network. And I got a man who knows a little bit of fighting himself, former AHL NHL Enforcer Frank the Animal Bialowas. Thanks for your time this afternoon, Frank. Really appreciate you hopping on with me today.
Always a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's definitely a pleasure here as well, my friend. Obviously, getting towards the end of the season here, how are you feeling about Ovechkin getting close to Gretzky's record there?
I mean, for me, it's great. He's played, he earned it. You know what I mean? But that's a goal scoring thing. It doesn't do anything for me. Sorry.
I just figured I'd ask because that's like one of the things that's
really prominent. Oh no, it's great. It's great for Ovi. He's a great guy. He's a beast. I mean, really, honest to God, as being a player, he fights, he hits, he's a monster, man. It's great. He's still got the old school mentality, and like I said, for a goal scorer, man, I mean, kid's a machine. I love him. Yeah.
Couldn't be happier for him. Kind of wish his career was elsewhere besides in down there in Washington as being the Philadelphia native here. But I always say the Philadelphia fans always respect greatness regardless of where they're from, and Ovi's definitely a guy that tip your cap to him however you want to have the saying there. He's one of the best. He's gonna be in the Hall of Fame at some point in time, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, no question, man. I mean, and the Philly fans are great. You know what I mean? They hate you, they boo you, they motherfuck you. You know what I mean? But listen, if you're a hard worker, the reason they do that and the more they give it to you, the more they wish you were here. That's Philly, man. I think best fans in the world. I have to tell you, I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't want to play it if I had a choice and I could be somewhere. It's here, man.
Yeah, I always say it doesn't matter which sport it is. Philly just has a special connection to whatever team it is, regardless if we're, which big four sport we're talking about. Even the, we see it a little bit more in the combat sports athletes as well as like the UFC starting to get.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So it's definitely fun there. So.
I got someone was calling.
It's all right, my friend. I'm used to technical difficulties.
All right. Yeah, but the UFC is great. I mean, no better place. There's people love fighting in Philly. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And that's kind of where you made your name here in Philadelphia as a part of the Phantoms and things of that nature. What was it like? Being a part of hockey during that time, the 90s, the 2000s, what are some of your favorite memories from that time?
I mean, hockey was great back then. I mean, the Philadelphia team that we had, the Phantoms, was special. It was like you brought the old school back in, with the Broad Street Bullies, and it was like, we made it exciting. I mean, the team gelled together. Everyone, it's. We went from 0 fans and everyone wondering what the hell it was to filling the Spectrum, and that what a pleasure it was playing in there. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I remember my first days here, after getting traded, I was like, I don't want to play there. No one's going to come watch us. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm just going to, and that was my mentality. So I was like, I didn't even know how Philly was. I knew nothing about it. You know what I mean? And the first day we came, I was like, I'm getting kicked out of this game. So I just beat someone up. You know what I mean? And I think we had 2,000 fans or 2,500. So I just shit kicked this kid. And that it was so loud in there, 2,500. I was like, oh, look at this, man. These people love this crap. You know what I mean? So I just kind of got, we had a guy in the office. His name was Jason Bogle. And he kind of jumped on board. And, he started promoting it. And they're like, hey, this guy spent half his life in the penalty box and blah, 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 blah. And, next game we had, it was on the news and, people were like, you go out and they were like, hey, you're that animal guy, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah. And next, I basically fought every game for the first 10, 15 games that I was there. So it gets stirred around. People in Philly start talking about it. And, got more, 3,500, 4,500, next thing playing Hershey and we got brawls. And after that, the building was full, man. So
it's definitely special. There's a combat sport connection to the city of Philadelphia, regardless of of where you're getting it from. And
Yeah.
hockey is one of the few sports that isn't a combat sport where you're actually allowed to still fight in and things of that nature. And
Yeah. It used to be. Not anymore. Little
well,
bit.
no, if you look at it, look what happened to the, what NHL did with the All-Star games, what they did with, the
Uh,
nations thing, and how
yeah.
that's kind of really changed like how they look at the All-Star games and stuff like that, like how it was not. I mean, obviously having, 3 fights in 9 seconds is going to get everyone's attention regardless.
Well, I mean, like I said, with 2,500 people, everyone's against fighting and says this and that, blah blah blah. I don't listen to that shit because it's like, listen, the 2,500 people at our first game were louder than any hockey game that I've been to in the new arena in the last year, and that was like nonstop. You know what I mean? So I call bullshit. I said people love it, man. And I never say, listen, there's been fighting in hockey for years and years and years, and I've never seen anyone sit on their hands and sit in their seat when two guys are beating each other up. You know what I mean? So like I said, I'm gonna call bullshit on this one.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like we're talking about banning stuff like here in Philadelphia because the NFL is trying to ban the Eagles tush push play. It's like the same thing in hockey. You're never going to ban fighting because I think it's
No,
something that kind of polices itself.
it does. And like with the fighters, like like they're trying to eliminate the fighters, but you take away the fighting, now people take liberties with their stick and the stupid stuff, dirty hits, and like I said, it's a self-police game. It always has been. You know what I mean? And it tempers fly. Like when you're booking around on the ice like that, I mean, to eliminate fighting, you'd have to eliminate body checking, you'd have to eliminate tripping, you have to eliminate stick work, you have to basically not even talk. Like I mean, when I was on the ice, like if you came near me and touched me, I'm gonna knock your teeth out of your head. You know what I mean? It was like that hockey players have a different mentality, especially the mean ones. Like it's a space issue. It's everything. Like so you get hit good. I take a hit from someone, but if someone ran me, I guarantee you I was fighting. You know what I mean? So
And that's another special talent. Like fighting on ice isn't something that's easy to do.
no, not at all. I mean, it's just a whole different. And and like we were talking about, I was just talking about this with somebody else the other day. Like boxing, MMA, you get hurt, you get knocked out, but if you think of all the hockey fights, like, yeah, guys do get knocked out, you know what I mean? But it's rare. It's not because you're defending yourself with your hands, you're using your head face to protect, especially nowadays with the visors and crap, you know what I mean? Back in the day, you'd see quite a few, you'd see 5 or 10 knockouts every year, you know what I mean? But it's not every it's really hard to knock someone out on the skates, because you got your balance, you got this. Yeah, there's so many things that come into play. It's wild, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But yeah, you can get hurt, trust me. When someone's pulling you in and you know and hitting you at the same time, it gets pretty scary.
Now here's one for you. Like you were just talking like knockouts aren't as rare. Have you ever been knocked out?
No, I've never. I got knocked off my feet once, and it was in the spectrum. Only just knocked off my feet, not even like, sliding, but like from a punch. I was being an asshole, and I couldn't hit this guy, and I was tired, so I was like, just I stuck my chin out, and I was like, hit me, and he was like, what? And he swung from the bleachers, man, hit me right on the chin. Didn't knock me out, but knocked me down. And he landed on top of me, and I looked up, and I'm like, you are so dead. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you every game for the rest of your career. And I ended up fighting him. I probably had 10 shifts against him in the next few games, and I fought him every single one.
Now, did you ever get a guy and you got him
Oh
like
yeah, yeah. I've heard people like. I mean, I've had like I threw real hard, so it was like like I hurt some people, But a lot of times people would hang on for dear life, trying not to get hit, But like I said, you get those in, and you're not protecting yourself. Like I mean, the one kid we had, it was in the spectrum here. We had a fight in the first. He was a new guy. They called him up. He had like 500 minutes in the East Coast League or something. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm fighting this guy tonight. And then the first fight, he was little. I was like, man, a little dude like you. So I was like kind of playing around, and I lost my feet. I slipped, you know what I mean? Like I went to pull him in real hard to hit him, and then I fell back, and he landed on me, and I was like, all right, whatever. So we get up, and all the boys were bugging me off the bench, like, you slipped, it looks bad. And I was like, okay. So when we're in the penalty box, I look over at him. I'm like, man, you're like the heavyweight champ, dude. It's great. Oh, good job. How, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I said, if you could do it again, you'd be like God. You're going to be like the king of the ring, dude. It's all you. They're really talking about you forever. He's like, oh, yeah, for sure. We'll get out. We'll go again. Well, we went out, and I don't think he ever played again because I broke his collarbone, broke his cheek. I beat him up real bad, and then I knocked him out, and I think he broke his leg. So it was like vicious. Like I missed his face and punched his collarbone and broke it.
Talking about the weird things that happens, like
It happens. I mean, that's twice I did that where I laid someone out their legs just give out and they snap their leg. That's the bad part about the skates. You know what I mean? So yeah.
That's why I said it's the hardest thing to do is fight on skates, man.
Yeah, it is because you're trying to control your balance. You have issues. You fall. Like, I mean, I've fell in fights and smashed my head on the ice, and you get cut from that, and then you're bleeding. Everyone thinks you lost. You know what I mean? But you actually hit your head on the ice, or you get a skate. Like there's all kinds of crazy shit that can happen. So.
Yeah, hockey and football, I still think are like one of the ones where obviously it's more sanctioned and things like that.
Yeah.
But like you guys are still, put it out there. Like, you were just talking about, the visors and the sticks. Yeah. We still don't even talk about people getting hit with pucks yet.
Exactly. But it's just, I mean, you do the safety stuff, but I think that with sports, my personal opinion is that they've come to pamper it so much because of minor issues. Like it seems like more of the issues are coming now because of what transpired in the last 10 years, you know what I mean? Like you didn't see that. Like you go back to the Broad Street, you have Schultz, you have Hound, you got, Wilson, like none of them have any brain damage or any of that crap. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. I'm not buying it. I think we were just brought up tougher, you know what I mean? And yeah, you probably had a few concussions and you got a couple loose marbles, you know what I mean? But I don't think, they put that out of perspective and they made people soft. So now they're not used to it. They eliminated minor and junior, so they're not doing it as much. And even with the hitting, we were so used to getting hit that it didn't bug you. You know what I mean? Nowadays, you get a good hit on someone, they're laying there out cold, concussion, this, that, blah, blah. Like it's like, nah. I think they just made people soft. Like they softened them up by eliminating a lot of the stuff that happened.
I think Eric Lindros's concussions is kind of what really shined a light on it in the NHL when they started changing some of the rules about stuff like that. I mean, obviously, when they made it illegal when you have your head down, you can't engage in that way, which I think is player safety regardless. But I think he was being being such a highly talented guy and watching concussions and the end of his career is kind of why we're starting to see some of that dialed back.
Well, I mean, back in the old days, you don't skate around with your head down. I listen. My first game in NHL, this is the same thing. You're going to say that, and you're talking about Lindros. Yeah, he's a star. Here's a meathead. It's my first game in NHL, and I'm here. I think I'm in Danglefest. I'm like, I finally got some skills. I'm coming over to blue line, put my head down. Greg Wolanin buries me. Out shoulder right in my face, man, smashes my nose, completely broke. It's like this big, so I'm skating around and I get up and I'm like, now I'm looking for someone to fight because I'm pissed. No one wants to fight me on the ice. I'm skating around bleeding all over myself. Everyone's like, just go off the ice, kid. Fix your face and come back. So I went to the bench. It was hockey night in Canada, my whole family watching, you know what I mean? Back in Winnipeg. I go to the bench. They stick the prongs up my nose, fix my nose. Pat Burns says, you okay? You ready to go? I'm like, yeah. I go out there, standing in front of the net. Tony Twist comes and grabs me, spins me around. The gloves are off, broken nose, everything. Let's go, man. So, do I have any sympathy for some asshole running around with his head down? No, not at all. That was part of the game. Keep your fucking head up and pay attention to what you're doing instead of thinking you're, you know what I mean? And that's been hockey. Go look way back. You know what I mean? Like look at the video and the hits from back in the day. Eric's a great guy, but he's so skilled. I think what happened is that he didn't think he was too good to get hit. You know what I mean? It's and no one gives a shit. Like Johnny Steve, or I mean,
Scott
Steve.
Stevens.
Yeah, like that guy was vicious, man. You know what I mean? You're not special. He didn't look at you like you're Gretzky, or you know what I mean? Gretzky had Semenko protecting him his whole career, or whoever. You know what I mean? So, they should have had someone there like that for but
I think everyone's just so enamored that he was the guy that they say in baseball, like a 5-tool guy, like
right.
Eric was one of those guys, but
Yeah.
you're right, he broke the cardinal rule. You don't listen.
Right. Dude, you know what? You're not special. You're not going to skate around with your head down. Back in the day, in that era, you're not going to skate around with your head down and not get crushed. You know what I mean? And Anna knew I would get up and shit kick him. There's no question. But did he care? No. You know what I mean? Because they got Tony Twist and Chris Simon on the other side. So you're not special. That's the thing, and that's, I think, in that Lindros era is when it started, where I think he thought like, oh, no one's going to hit me, or they're not entitled to hit me, or whatever. You know what I mean? They had that mentality. The mentality in hockey was changing there. So a lot of things happened, and I don't believe in any of it. So.
Now you drop some names, and obviously you've heard of some of the fighters, meatheads, stuff like that. Who were some of your favorite fighters from your era?
I mean, I love them, and I was kind of friends with them through a mutual friend. Was like Probert, and I wanted to fight him. I only played against him one time, and I was in warm up. I was talking to him like, if I'm playing, you got to fight me, eh? And Probert was like, yeah, I know. I'm like, okay. And my buddy was stretching beside him that played on Chicago, and he's like. And then they was talking in the dressing room, and I got sat because it was playoffs, so I didn't get to play. I was just there, and I was like, I remember begging Pat Burns. I was like in the dressing room, please, man, just one shift. Just let me play one shift. That's all. I'll be out of your hair. I'll go out. I'll take care of the shit, and I'll sit on the end of the bench and not say a word. He's like, I wish I could. I'd love to see it. And I'm like, and he's like, I just can't, Frankie. And I'm like, fuck.
That's not a can't. That's a won't. I don't want to hear it. They should have let that happen.
I know. It was playoffs, and we were like, and with Toronto that year, we actually went to the finals. You know what I mean? So it was the right decision. I can't blame them, and they can't say nothing. I just wish I would have, I had that chance. That was like he was my idol, man. I love that dude.
Yeah, I mean, Probert was one of those guys. I mean, we talked about Stevens. You brought up Chris Simon. Like those were some of the nasty guys in that era.
Yeah, I mean, and Stevens wasn't even a fighter. He's just
just a tough SOB.
You had the defenseman from Detroit that would just crush you. God forbid you had your head down. What was his name? Larry Ott, not one of them. I can't remember. He was a beast, man. He's got some of the biggest hits in history. You know what I mean? And he was just a nasty prick, man. God forbid you had your head down. That fucker would steamroll you and knock it clean off. Like, it's a defenseman. It was one of the defensemen for the Red Wings. I can't remember what his name was. I was watching a tape the other day, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm surprised he didn't kill no one.
That's why we love some of the it's not the golden age, it's a different age of hockey now.
Oh.
Now that we have what we have now, it's just it's
fun.
Like,
you go into the arenas, it's sad, like how quiet. It's like I go to a lot of games, take customers and stuff like that, and it's amazing at the tone difference between now and back then. I mean, it was deafening. Like, I mean, in Chicago, we played, like it was so loud in that building, you couldn't even talk to the person next to you. You know what I mean? Philly, Spectrum, it was fucking loud, man. And it would go like with those games with Hershey, man. People were on their feet from the first period to the third period, and you couldn't hear a pin. Like, you know what I mean? Now you could go in there. I could talk to the guy across the ice on the other side of the building. Hey, man, how you doing?
You said you guys used to talk a lot. Do you think the trash talking is worse in hockey than it is in other sports, or?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know about now the rules and stuff, but back in the day, oh yeah, man, it was terrible. Like, yeah, they was like, and, I had no filter. They tried to mic me up once in Philly. Billy was like, I don't think that's a good idea. like, why not? It'll be great. Fuck, that thing was off of me. They couldn't get me off the ice fast enough in the first period. At the end of the first, they're like, yeah, we're done. I'm like, okay.
Is there like, was back then, was there like a word you couldn't use, a line you couldn't cross when you guys were talking smack, or was it just
I mean,
everything up for
you get in
grabs?
trouble for it, but it didn't really exist. You know what I mean? It was like maybe the last year that I played in '01, that was already changed. It changed quite a bit, but like up to like '98, that it was pretty much a free for all. Yeah, it was good. I mean, I was ruthless. I mean, I'd say anything. You know what I mean?
Listen, whatever you got to do to get in your opponent's head, to get them out
Oh,
of their character. I mean,
yeah.
I think it's all fair game.
Yeah, it's fun. It was fun, man. Like, I mean, and you're losing a game, you're trying to get something, or you're trying to prove a point. It was like, I remember one game we were playing in the Spectrum, and I was benched for a period. I did something stupid, you know what I mean? I can't remember. And Billy's like, "Okay, I'm going to give you a shift," because the whole place was like chanting, "We want Frank, we want Frank." You know what I mean? He was like, "Look, I'm putting you out there. Don't do nothing stupid." And all the guys on the bench just looked at him. They're like, "Yeah, okay." So I'm standing out there at the face-off circle, and I'm like, "Hey, you want to go?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "You want to go?" And Belak was there, my buddy Wade Belak. I'm like, "Let's go, Beeler." He's like, "Nah, no, no." And I'm like, "All right." I said, "Wait, I'm not. No one wants to fight." So the puck drops, and we're in Hershey's End, right? And puck drops, and they're skating down to our zone. I never left the face-off circle. I'm standing there thinking, like, what can I do to get this going? You know what I mean? So I skated over and suckered the goalie. I was like, I guess we're going now. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
There's an instigator penalty.
That was that big huge brawl that we had. It was great, man. And I remember coming off the ice after like 15 minutes of brawls and stuff, and Billy looks at me as I'm skating through, and he goes, "That's not stupid." I'm like, "No, that's entertainment, man."
Oh man. Well,
Yeah,
now we got to get into what the newer age stuff is. Like, obviously, we seen Chris Therien try to start Ice Wars a few years ago. Now
yeah.
we're seeing the new age boxing as bare knuckle boxing is kind of getting into things, and now we're starting to see they're going to kind of get involved with what's going on in as far as putting on some ice hockey fights and things of that nature. I know you've been reached out to by Dave's brother to do some stuff with Damon Feldman. But what are your thoughts on BKFC kind of getting involved with hockey fights?
Oh no, I mean, I was there. Even I was involved with them as well. Like before with his name's Charlie Nama. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. I mean, he stays at my house when he's around. We've gone out. He's been working on it for years. I mean, this goes way back. I actually was gonna fight in like the first one, like way back. You know what I mean? When it first originally came out, and just it was like it kind of fell apart. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't something that I wanted to, but it's progressed, and they've been working on it for years and years. So I mean, like the bare knuckle fighting one is like really close to becoming something decent. Once they get their venue, it's been a hard road for them, and I hope it works out. You know what I mean? But you got to just get the right crowd. I think they're in the right place. It's getting there. You know what I mean? It is good. I like the Ice Wars is great. Like I said, we were supposed to judge the one that was in Canada the last time. And I got tied up with something with business, and it's. But I was a part of the first with that stuff. Damon just reached out to me because he wants to do. The only reason I'm even getting involved is because it's in Philly. Like I love this Philly crowd. It's going to be a small venue, nothing like the BKFC or anything like that. But for a local thing, it could be real good too. You know what I mean? But it just depends on the sanctioning and all the crap that goes along with it. So we'll see what happens. Obviously the BKFC is a much bigger venue, than what Damon's got going on. But this is like kind of like a hometown. Like, hey, let's just, there's nothing wrong with watching a couple guys that think they're tough go out there and beat the shit out of each other. Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. So.
I mean, it definitely should be interesting. I just wanted to make sure, like, some people know, like, there's a difference between what Damon's doing
Oh, it's
and,
completely.
and what.
Yeah, completely different. There's nothing even like on this. You know what I mean? Like I said, Charlie's been doing this for a long time, and the BKFC with Damon's brother. This has been going on for like it goes back at least 10, 15 years. You know what I mean? So again, and I was involved. I just don't have time. I can't go out of state. I can't do so. Like I said, I was in it with the original ones, like trying to get guys to go in it, and I was going to actually do it. Then I was like, you know what, I have a big business. I can't risk getting hurt. You know what I mean? For that little bit amount of money. You know what I mean? If it was a big venue, damn right, I'd be right in there. You know what I mean?
Hey, well, they just had Knuckle Mania. You never know if these first few events that they do put together gets sanctioned, gets going, and gets something behind it. Who knows? You never know. You might be back in the Wells Fargo Center putting something together. You never know, man.
Man. I used to, like I said, I did it when I was 35 or 36. I was going up to the Quebec League and just fighting on the weekends, going to Danbury and fighting for my buddy Jimmy there. Then I was boxing with Damon. I mean, the money was great. You know what I mean? You're bringing in extra cash and just going and doing what you love, So I had no problem. Now I'm a little bit older. I'm 54 now. So it's like, I'm still stupid and I'm still doing it.
Well, you never know. Maybe they put together the Probert fight for you and you get you out of your retirement.
I wish, but I have to dig them up out of the ground.
I know, man. I know.
Yeah.
And speaking of Damon, I don't know if you've seen he's made an offer to trying to get LeBron James.
Oh, I did. That's funny as hell, man. That's why I like David. David's just like listen. He's got balls the size of a donkey. You know what I mean? So he just he'll try anything. And if he puts it together, it's gonna be great. You know what I mean? But like I said, that's a good local venue. Philadelphia. If you can get the Ice Wars or Damon's thing or any kind of fighting on ice in Philly, you're gonna do real well. You know what I mean? I can't even imagine how well it would do. You know what I mean? Especially if you got a big venue, you got it in the Wells Fargo, and you promoted it properly and got it all sanctioned. That'd be a freak show. You'd sell that building out, and people would be going nuts. But you got
especially if you get guys like you, or you find a way to get Big E involved and get some of the bullies involved and stuff like that. I mean, you'd get people to pack that place.
Yeah, and they have a lot of good fighters that they're pulling out of the woodworks. They're kicking around all over the country. They're younger, they're big. You know what I mean? So, like I said, anybody's gonna want. You get a bunch of drunk Philly fans. You could easily pull 10,000 and sit them in and be like, "Come on, man, come check this." And they'll be all about it. There's no question in my mind.
Yeah,
I was doing it and I could do it free and not, and this is where I would want it hosted. You know what I mean? Definitely, no question.
I don't think there's any other place that you would want to put something on like that. I've been saying it for years. Everyone talk about New York and Vegas is the fight capital of the world. Man, y'all need to stop playing. It's Philadelphia.
Here's the thing: Vegas is it's the fight capital, but you're looking at boxing. You're not putting in hockey. They don't care. Half the people in Vegas don't even know hockey is. You know what I mean? So people aren't going to travel. Celebrities and stuff like that because it's not big enough. Maybe down the road. You know what I'm saying? But because it's new. It's not it's different fighting. You know what I'm saying? And then New York is you'll get some of it, but New York's not near in their hockey, and they got the Rempe kid, he's doing well, so it would be a good venue. But like I said, everywhere that I played, if you're putting on a fighting event, and especially on the ice, this is where I'm doing it in Philadelphia. You know what I mean?
Philadelphia's the only place to be, man.
No matter who it's with, this would be fun as shit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like I said, man, listen, I think people underestimate how much the Philadelphia fan loves the combat sports side of things.
That Philadelphia fans love all sports, man. They're just beauties. We just laugh. Me and my brother, we laugh all the time. Every time I see an article, these fans are, blah, blah, blah. They're mean. Listen, man, it's Philly. Put your diaper on when you're coming here because you're going to get your ass kicked. And it's just they're just beauties. They're obnoxious. They're mean, but they have big hearts. They love their sports. And listen, I love Philly people, man. That's why I stayed here. You know what I mean? I didn't stay here for any reason. I played all over the place. I stayed because I love it here. You know what I mean? So
And that's the thing you see about a lot of the athletes who wind up coming through here. They have this bond with this city, and it's like even when they leave, like we even sat there. We just seen Darius Slay come here for 5 years. He just signed a contract with to go play in Pittsburgh. Before that, him and his wife left. They made sure to go all over multiple platforms and just say how much that they love this city and this place is like a second home to them. That they're probably not going to sell their home here in the area and going to stay around here, despite the fact that he was a Detroit kid and he was obviously born and raised elsewhere, but like this is another home to him.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the people here are amazing. That's all I can say. It's like, and that's the truth. Like the people that leave the area and the athletes that leave are the ones that are bums and don't belong to be here. You know what I mean? And that's the truth. Like Philly fans see right through that shit. If you don't have to be the best player, you don't have to be the most talented, you don't have to be you have to work hard. That's what they expect. And they're not stupid. Like Philadelphia fans aren't stupid. You know what I mean? They don't just look and say, "Oh, that's Wayne Gretzky or Eric Lindros or this or this." You know what I mean? They want that guy that goes out there and gives his heart 100% every day. Doesn't matter if you score goals, fight. Like I said, I'm in in the Phantoms Hall of Fame. That's for fighting. I didn't score any goals. You know what I mean? I didn't want to score. So that just tells you how this city is. Like look at Schulte. Schulte's my buddy. They love him, man. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just getting another phone call. What? Whoa. Let's give Frank another minute here. See what happens. Oh no! All right. Well, I guess that was gonna put an end to this one tonight. I'll give him another minute or so before I officially put an end to the interview for today. But Frank is a character, and you definitely gotta loving his insight. Hopefully, we can get him back on here, but definitely there he is. There he is. There he goes. There's Mr. Frank is back.
I don't know what happened. These assholes phoning me. It's like
we gotta love technology, my friend. That's how I should say it that way.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I couldn't get back on. It went blank. So
it's all right, man. Yeah. We still here. We still got everything going. Got the last few questions I got for you here. Obviously, appreciate your time today. Looking forward to seeing you involved with whatever Damon's going to be doing as far as ice fights or ice wars, however he's going to wind up wording that. But BKFC is getting involved in ice wars, and we're going to start seeing some more highly skilled fighters taking place, because as we were already talking about, it ain't easy to fight on skates, man.
Yeah, no, it's I'm praying, I'm hoping that Damon can get it together. I mean, the sanctioning and all the crap that goes along with it. I know that the Ice Wars was trying to get it here, and they had a problem with sanctioning, and so it's like one of them things. Let's see what happens and keep.
Well, you got to think it took Dave 8 years to get BKFC here in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to take Damon that long, especially when you have a new regime change over the last few years as far as what the commissioner is and stuff like that. So
exactly. So
I think you guys will be all right. Just you got to get through the tape to kind of get it going, and once you guys get it going, I mean, I think it'll be something that'll take off and that people be interested in. It doesn't matter if we're talking about.
Sure. Yeah, if it comes here and you get it here, it'll be you could blow it up just from getting it in here. You know what I mean? Because people will watch it, they'll talk about it. It'll be a freak show. You know what I mean? So,
not a Jake Paul freak show, but a fun freak show.
Yeah, I know, it's entertainment. It's fun. You know what I mean? It's like, listen, it'll be talked about for a while if he could get it to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I think it should be fun. Obviously seeing what Dave and is done with BKFC, and even what Damon's done with his celebrity boxing. That's also a fun event. People who don't know, he's got Ric Flair coming in for what was it, June 14th?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
So
Oh no,
That should be an interesting event, as is whoever, no matter who's going to be competing on that
right.
boxing event. That should be fun with having Rick involved with it.
I'd love to see the LeBron one. That'd be great, man.
I don't think it'll happen, but it's one of
No,
those things. It's one of those things where, like, hey, man, shoot your shot. You never know. Like,
yeah, I know. You
I
just
know
gotta
LeBron
get.
James wants nothing to do with that. He went on his media tour. He's getting ready. He's getting into the last few years of his career. You
Right.
know, I don't think it'll happen. But Stephen A. Smith, you never know, man.
Yeah. Never know.
About 4 or 5 years ago, everyone wanted to see Stephen A. Smith go beat up what was it, Skip Bayless, when they had their little spat and divorce. I
Yeah.
mean, some of that stuff would be interesting to happen. Like if you get some of these celebrities who actually have issues with one another, and
Oh, it'd be great. Yeah, there's nothing like listen, there's nothing like resolving it, like temper tantrums and bullshit with a little, Donnybrook. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how shit should be handled. The world's changed. It's like, now everyone wants to cry. When you were a kid, you did something wrong, you got punched in the mouth and it was all good. You learned your lesson. You know what I mean?
yeah, like you learn one way or another. Like
Yeah.
if you had a problem, and the funny thing is when like guys like us were younger, y'all would have a fight. You wouldn't hate each other afterwards.
No,
9 times out of 10, you become closer. You may not be best friends, but it's somebody you'd still go and have a beer with, party, hang out with, whatever. Y'all had your problems, and you dealt with it.
That's exactly. We don't hold grudges for, like I can't tell you. If you whip my ass, I'm gonna be laying on the ground. I'm gonna put my hat. I'm gonna be like, man, that was a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. But I don't give up after the first one. But I'm not gonna hold a grudge against you. Trust me.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. Like, you got me, bro. It's all right.
Oh yeah, it happens. I mean, dude, anybody can lose a fight any day of the week. You know what I mean? And there's no question in that. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? Someone gets your number and you give it. I'm not the guy that gives up after one though. It's like I need a few of them.
Yeah, it's like, we need a minimum of 3.
Dude, my dad took me to school every day for 7 days when I was a kid and had my ass handed to me by the school bully for 7 days in a row. I finally shit kicked him on the 8th day, and I never stopped since.
That tells you that he was actually a bully, not an actual
No,
somebody who's
it
actually
was a
tough.
school bully, and he would beat the shit out of me. So I went home. My dad's like, "Who beat you up like that?" And I was like, "Bully." And he's like, "Okay, we'll go talk about it tomorrow." So he taught me how to fight, started teaching me how to fight. Took me back next day, and I'm thinking, "Oh, Dad's gonna come and give me a hand." You know what I mean? And he's like, "Get out of the car and go punch him in the mouth." And I was like, "What?" I'm like, ready. I'm like, "No." And he's like, "If you don't get out and punch him, I'm gonna punch you." So I got out of the car. I went and drilled the kid. I got beat up again. I came with my pants stuck down. I was crying. My dad got in the car. My dad smacked me in the side of the face. Like, what are you crying about? I'll give you something to cry about. So he went home, got me wound up, said, "Okay, we'll figure it out." Next day, he drives me to school again. Get out of the car. I'm like, what? At this point, I refuse to get out of the car. And he's like, I'm going to kill you if you don't get out of the car. And this went on for 7 days, man. Finally, that 8th day, I got out of the car and I beat the shit out of this kid like you could never imagine. When I came back, he's like, he looked at me and he goes, "Are you dead?" And I'm like, "No." He goes, "Did you learn something?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What?" He goes, there's no reason to be afraid. You know what I mean? And he's like, "Exactly." He goes, "You don't give up and you don't back down." And then that's where I learned. So it took all my fear away from fighting. Absolutely, on that day, that time. And then you become like the king in school. I didn't want to. I wasn't a bully or anything, but like no one came near me.
Yeah, you just kept coming at the bully until
Dude,
he
I
fell.
was black and blue. I
Forced
had
to,
so
like, I
many
don't want
knots.
nothing to do with that guy, man.
Oh, dude, I had so many knots and stuff on my forehead and all over my face. 2 black eyes. I was like, it was terrible, man. But
I'm sure your
yeah,
face was sore after that week.
oh yeah, whatever. It's good. I learned. You know what I mean? You can only get so hurt from, you know what I mean? Once you involve guns and knives and stupid stuff, it's a different story. But I mean, it's good to just,
Yeah, like hearing that news story that came out today, the football player and track kid,
yeah, right,
gets in a dispute with a kid, and for some odd reason he had a knife, stabs him in the chest, and then
right. Yeah, there's no need for that. Listen, you're only going to get so hurt from fighting like men, and you know what I mean. And
Yeah, like I think there's like, listen, somebody needs to talk to all young men and women in this world and just be like, listen, there ain't nothing that can't be solved with your hands. You don't need to pick up a gun. You don't need to pick up a knife. You don't need to call a group of friends for this. Like, listen, you get beat up, you get beat up. You get your ass handed to you. You dust yourself off. You pick yourself up. If you got a broken bone, let's go to the hospital, and then we move on with our lives. Like, it's not.
I'll even drive you. Like if I break your face and hurt you, I'll probably pick you up, put you in the car, and be like, okay, let's go get you fixed up. Go get a beer after, call it a day. But some people, like, because they can't shut up. Like where I grew up is a real tough. Winnipeg's like a really tough city. It's just like you don't open your mouth unless you want to get punched. You know what I mean? And it's like they don't tolerate it. They're just like a different breed of people, man. So
it's definitely a different breed, different time. Hopefully we start seeing some more normalcy coming back into life. But as I get ready to put this one to bed and this interview this afternoon, Frank, what I typically do is kind of throw the proverbial microphone to you. You kind of give your parting shot of the night. Anything you want to say? Tell people to follow. Like if you have any foundations you're doing, any you're talking about your business before we came on air. Anything you want to let the people know that you're getting involved with and things of that nature. The time is yours, my friend.
I mean, for me, it's all I can say is I love the Philadelphia area. I love the sports. I can't thank the people here enough. And you guys are great. Show is great. Thank you for everything. Appreciate you.
Well, everyone, that's Frank Bialowas. This is a parting shot for this afternoon, Frank. I really appreciate your time today. Let's run it back as we get closer to some ice wars and things of that nature, and catch back up with you soon, my friend.
You got it for sure.
All right.
Have a wonderful night.
Not a problem, my friend. Bye.
Take care.
All right, everyone. That was Frank the Animal Bialowas. He is a AHL NHL enforcer, obviously getting involved into the ice wars, bare knuckle wars, however you want to refer to it. There's going to be more ice hockey fighting going on in the combat sports realm. Be prepared. I hope that both BKFC's version, what they're doing with Ice Wars, and what Damon is doing with his own stuff as well, does well. Hopefully, we get the sanctions situated here in the state of Pennsylvania, and we get it in our own backyard. Is kind of what I hope happens. But always good to catch up with Frank. Getting his thoughts on things and. It's going to be another fun one. Make sure you guys are staying tuned in to everything that we're doing here on the Just Blaze Clothing Network, aka JB Sports. Should have a few more interviews coming for you this weekend. As far as the parting shot, had a great interview yesterday afternoon on the Fan in the End with former Eagles wide receiver Chris T. Jones. Got another fun interviews over the next 2 weeks for the Fan in the End. So guys, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure you're staying tuned into everything that we got going on here on the network. I'm Steve, and we will be back in a few days. See you soon, guys.